The thing that I tried to get through the film was that maybe a million tiny acts of kindness will have more of an impact than a few big ones.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal to professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer at the Center for Victory. With us today is a CEO and Creative Director of the Bureau of Small Projects. It does branding for small businesses, nonprofits, and startups. It leverages they leverage their branding, web development, and marketing experience with Fortune 500 companies and major brands using all the trade secrets that they have developed over the years to help small business, startups, and nonprofits make a big impact. My guest directed the critically acclaimed documentary Kindness is Contagious, which is awesome. We're going to be talking about that. It's a film all about being nice and the benefits of being nice. And it's narrated by Catherine Ryan Hyde, the best-selling author of the book and movie Pay It Forward. Welcome, my guest, Mr. David Gaz. I appreciate you being on, sir.
Oh, Eric, thank you for having me on your podcast. I
Yeah,
love it. I love being a part of this. Thank you.
yeah, and I think you're going to add a lot of value today, David. But we're gonna start off talking about what you do. So the Bureau of Small Projects, what kind of work do you typically do? And then we'll get into the second question about your approach. So what kind of work do you typically do?
Well, I think what separates us is we do branding, but specifically for, as you mentioned, small business startups and nonprofits, people making a difference in the world. Everybody in our company has including myself, has a Fortune 500 and big brand background. However, we take that experience and we apply that to folks that are making a difference in the world. We've all been down the road of success awards, all of that stuff, and we just want to help people make the world a better place.
Okay, and then what's your approach to that?
Well, why don't could I tell you a little bit about how that came about, and then I'll segue into the approach
Oh,
because
absolutely. Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I think the way it came, which is a little weird, it meanders a little bit, but it kind of is the foundation of everything we do. Um, I used to be a partner in a firm that worked exclusively with Fortune 500 companies and big brands. And a few years back, we were politically in a time, I think, very much like today, where people were just being really mean to each other all the time. They got permission to be mean, I guess. It's that trickle down effect. And it was showing in our clients. They were frustrated. They were treating our team poorly. And I was just like, why? We're all in this together. Why can't we just be nicer? And I read this article in Scientific American about these two guys, James Fowler and Nicholas Christakis from Harvard University, who had scientifically proven kindness is contagious. Not this secret, put it out in the world stuff gets back to you, but Harvard University science statistics that kindness is contagious. That if I do something nice for you, Eric, you'll do something nice statistically for four other people. Each of those people will do something nice for four other people, and so on and so on. And being in marketing and branding my whole life, we love anything that's viral like that, right? So I thought this is kind of cool. And then I thought, hey, maybe this could solve my problem with people being nicer to each other. So I used the resources that I had at my disposal to produce the film that we're talking about, Kindness is Contagious. Now, the thing about this film is it's not just about being nice, but it's about the benefits of being nice. And while we're talking to all these really smart scientists from places like, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Berkeley, one of the things that came out was this whole notion of nice guys finish last is totally bogus. That nice guys actually make more money, which surprised me, but statistically on average, nice people make more money than not nice people. There's a few outliers that stand out, but the vast majority statistically and cumulatively, they make more money. They have better jobs, which didn't surprise me because who hires jerks? Um, they get more raises, of course. Who promotes jerks? They have better family lives and more friends. Made sense to me. But the one thing that blew me away is they physically live longer too. That
Hmm.
nice people actually live longer than not nice people. So, being an entrepreneur, my first business was an ice cream truck when I was 16 years old. Being a lifelong serial entrepreneur, the next thing that came across was I wonder if there's companies that are using kindness as a tool for success, knowing all of these kind of benefits from it. So, as part of the documentary, we interviewed, like Silicon Valley startups, nonprofits, healthcare organizations, and this is where it kind of comes around a little bit um, into the question that you asked. But these were people whose day job was making the world a better place. And I started to get a little bit jealous. My son was born around the same time. And my day job was literally sucking every last penny out of people's pockets to buy stuff they don't need, electronics that are going to be obsolete, designer shoes that, serve no purpose. And I thought, what could I do to make my day job, like these guys, be making the world a better place? And what I came up with, and this will lead into the methodology maybe, was what if I teach those people how to suck every last penny out of people's pockets, but put it to use for the betterment of mankind? Kind of like a reverse Robin Hood or something like that.
Gotcha.
And turns out that they were interested in that. And it started out, we created the Bureau of Small Projects as kind of like an incubator within my old company. And after about a year, my business partner came up to me because all I did was work with the Bureau of Small Projects. I love founders. I love entrepreneurs. I love people making the world a better place. I love people that are passionate and excited about what they're doing. And he said, "Hey, David, why don't you start working with our real clients for a change?" And he did the air quote thing when he did real clients. And so I couldn't resist. I did the air quote thing back and I said, I don't know if you've looked at our balance sheet, but it seems like we're now supporting your real
Real.
client. And that didn't go over well. And we got in one of those founder fights. And then I don't know if it was him that stormed out or me that stormed out, but what we did is we just divided the company in half. He took the quote real clients. I took the Bureau of Small Projects. And that was about 10 years ago. We spun it off into its own thing.
Mhm.
And so now that was a very long-winded way of answering your question, but our approach is that we apply all of those sneaky little tricks that big brands use, to get your money, to get your attention, to let you know that they exist. We apply those to small organizations, startups, nonprofits, but specifically folks that are making the world a better place. And we apply them to stuff that they don't normally get access to is kind of our methodology, kind of our approach to things.
Hey everyone, Caleb Kolb here, Chief Adventure Officer with Center for Victory. If you haven't heard yet, we are doing a Grand Canyon rim to rim trip. It's going to be great. October 4th to the 6th. Go to Center for Victory website under the Experiences tab and check it out. We'd love to see you. Also, like, share, subscribe to Center for Victory podcast. See you on the trail.
That's wonderful. I think I heard you before, maybe on a different podcast, David. And I'm always interested in this because you're talking about working with the people who really align with you and align with your values. And I think I heard you on another podcast say, or to the effect of getting rid of your clients from hell.
Oh, yes.
Is there a benefit to that?
Yeah, there is, because part of it is I think anybody that's in business, they always refer to their clients from hell. I don't like to think, hey, they're bad people or anything like that. We kind of approach things that it's all about fit.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, like we about a year ago, we hit one of those moments where our company goes to hell every year or so on a regular basis, and we had one of these periods where just nothing was working right. A lot of people were frustrated. I think some of our clients were frustrated, And through a lot of soul searching, we just decided they weren't bad people. They wanted something that we couldn't provide or weren't providing. And so, and it kind of put us into a little economic difficulty because what we did is we decided, hey, we're just gonna be really nice to them. We'll give them their retainer back and just stop working with them, and no judgment. We didn't say anything like, hey, it's your fault, no pointing fingers. It was more just like, hey, we just don't have the ability to give you the attention that you deserve. And it was very expensive because we gave them 100% of their retainers back. We didn't want there to be a financial thing or them to feel shortchanged. We did everything we could to help them through the transition, but man, it was the best thing. After it all settled, it was the best thing we could have done because the team, I think, felt very empowered that we were willing to do that to support them. I think our clients are better off because they weren't bad people. They just needed somebody that was a better fit for them. And then we were stuck with just the most adorable people ever. And now our client from hell is very different than our old client from hell. That, I think when you do business, there's always something that doesn't go right. We make mistakes. What we tell our clients are, we're 5-star reviews everywhere, not because we're perfect, but because we always make it right. And so now our clients from hell, they're partners with us. And so when it goes badly, and like the threshold now for badly is very minimal. And it's actually a wonderful experience because we're like, hey guys, okay, we got a little problem here. How do we work it out together? And it's amazing. Totally
Wonderful.
different.
Wonderful. So let's get to this documentary. Kindness is Contagious. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's funny because I was speaking at Stanford University and I got heckled by somebody. And they heckled me because they said, hey, we're in this world where we've got all these problems, and here you are, you're creating a documentary about something as vacuous as making people, about being nice to people. Why not address some of the issues, the political issues, the genocides? That dolphin movie where they killed all the dolphins came out I forget the name of it, but came out at that time. And my response was that this isn't a documentary, it's a do-you-mentary. That I think those films that she was mentioning about, highlighting issues that need to be addressed is very important. But we were offering solutions, not outlining problems. Our purpose was very different. And so Kindness is Contagious is a film that there's no problems in it. It's all about solutions. It's a bunch of tips and tricks maybe on how you can be nicer to people, the benefits of being nice to people. And then more importantly, not to just do it for the sake of being nice, but to get something out of it. Human beings were hardwired to be nice to each other. And people kind of forget that. They get this nice guys finish last thing in their heads. And I think that the nice people do terrible things because they don't want to finish last. But inside, their inner voice is telling them to be kind and nice. I think there's truly not very many unkind people in the world. And so this is showing them, hey, you can succeed by being nice. We're hardwired. Evolution created what we're what's called a superorganism.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like ants and termites and bees and naked mole rats, where we're kind of like, we work together. We're like individual cells within this huge organism. And it's all the cooperation that we do as human beings that put a man on the moon, build the Empire State Building, that everything truly great that man's done is not one person. It's us as a group. And kindness is the glue that makes that group work together.
Yeah, earlier you mentioned the benefits of being nice. You want to rattle some of those off?
Oh, yeah.
I think we all need encouraged to continue to do that. Even me from time to time, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, keep it in your head. Keep it in your head. And if anybody wants to email me, I'll send them a free copy of the film. We have a great distributor, so it's you have to buy it if you buy it, but we can give away educational copies. Okay. So as long as you're being educated, just email me. I'll give you a free copy of the film.
Wonderful.
But those benefits are, the number one, or the one that shocked me was nice people make more money. A shock, because I've always been thought that, oh, you got to be sneaky to make money. But, again, who do you hire for jobs? You hire the nice guys. So the nice guys get the jobs, they get the better jobs. They get promoted more often. They have better family lives, which makes sense. Nice people have more friends, which is hugely important in today's social media world. Because what do you do with the people that aren't nice? You just delete them from your friends list and off your contacts, and they live longer. Doing nice acts for people, taking care of other people, actually physically will make you live longer. And this is science. This isn't me. This is like guys from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, really, really smart people who have scientifically proven. You'll watch the film. It gives all the evidence and the rationale for it, but scientifically proved that, that it's a tool for success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. I think it just completely, the more that we can reach out and do that, it just changes our whole physiological state.
Yeah, James Fowler had something he mentioned in the film that was really cool. And he said, we can kind of scientifically prove that karma exists.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they look at it is that, as I mentioned, that if I do something nice for you, you will statistically do something nice for four more people. And this is just math and statistics. Each of those people will do something nice for four more people, and so on and so on. Now, the way karma kind of figures into this is you're doing this for people that are kind of in your proximity. And so you'll do something nice for four people that you know, and then they'll do something for four more people that they know. But some of those people will know you, so then they'll start doing nice things for you as a result. So that one kind act now is multiplied because they're all kind of people in your proximity. And, it's kind of hard proof that karma exists,
Yeah. Yeah, I think of the book. I think it's in Eye of the Eye. He talks about the vibratory levels of people that just live at a different level of joy and peace and things like that. And how if we didn't have those people, there's the other thing, how if we didn't have those people, the world would kind of disintegrate into itself. So being nice does have its benefits. I like that. A documentary. That's very
well.
creative.
The dark side of being nice is that also mean acts are contagious as well.
Yes.
Unkind acts. So you control it, that if you do kind acts, that's what'll come back to you. If you do unkind acts, that'll come back to you as well.
Yeah. And
so I'd choose the kind.
Yes. And I think we could use that. It's a great message for today. We could definitely use it here in the United States more and more, for sure.
Yeah, one thing that was really cool is when we went to interview Catherine Ryan Hyde, and then she ultimately became the narrator of the film as well. But I think everybody in the world now knows the phrase "pay it forward."
Mm-hmm.
And she was the one, I don't know if she coined it, but she definitely popularized it. She wrote the book and then the film that kind of got it out into the world. She wrote the screenplay for the film. And what was really cool is, on the way, to let you know how popular this was, on the way to interview her, a car pulled in front of me and their license plate was "Pay It Forward." And how cool is that, to meet somebody that had that much of an impact on the world by writing a book, just words, that she had that much of an impact on the world. And then you get to meet this person. It was so cool.
So we don't necessarily have to do these huge things to be nice and reach out, right? It can be done in just everyday life.
Yeah, the thing that I tried to get through the film was that maybe a million tiny acts of kindness will have more of an impact than a few big ones. Because I think most people get intimidated, like by Bono, that puts on a concert for humanity, and then they think, oh, I can't do anything like that. But the small acts are the ones that do it because of that kind of that progression, that you do one thing, four more people will do another act of kindness, and so on and so on. It has a heck of a lot of impact. And so don't discount that one super nice thing that you can do for somebody.
Okay. So switching a topic just a little bit, David. A lot of people talk about goals. Okay.
Ah,
Uh, you're not necessarily a goal guy, you're more of a path guy. Can you explain that to us?
yeah, it's funny because one of the things that I've noticed, we work with startup, and I'm going to put it in a little business context, but it also is a life lesson context. Is people often ask me, because we work with so many. I mean, we've grown to we're like 40 people and a multi-million-dollar company now, and that just kind of boggles my mind. We're going to be like a 5-person company in my head, and it just keeps growing. But we work with an awful lot of small businesses and startups. And the question that a lot of people ask me is, what qualities do the successful businesses have? And as near as I can tell, is the only thing they all have in common is they do not give up. And when they've got a business model that they're pursuing, if it's not working, rather than quit, they kind of change a little bit. And to me, when you talk about paths and goals, and this is kind of an epiphany to me, except I think I've always been a path person. But the epiphany was that if you go single-handedly towards a goal, you kind of forget all of the things that are around you, and you're just focused on this one thing. And then if you fail, it's devastating. But if you kind of go down a path, and you're kind of headed in a direction, because most paths kind of go towards something. But if you're going down the paths, you're looking to the side of the path, you're looking at the scenery around you, that you notice things that people who are goal oriented don't notice. And then if something looks interesting, maybe you veer off the path, or there's a fork in the road, and you start to choose which direction on the fork that you go. And it's interesting that you asked this question, because my next documentary is going to be about luck. And one of the hallmarks of this, there's this guy, Richard Wiseman, and it's going to be the same thing, like a documentary about luck, like how to improve your luck. And this guy, Richard Wiseman, did one of the coolest experiments ever. He picked 200 profoundly unlucky people and 200 profoundly lucky people. And he said, I'm going to find out what makes this luck thing tick. And one of the things that he came up with, that it was nothing supernatural, that it wasn't anything like that brought luck to people, it was behavior. And along this idea of path versus goal, is one of the things the really cool experiments he did, and people might be familiar with this experiment without knowing that it was him or what it was for, is he had these people sit in a room, and he said, we've got a newspaper, and I want you to count all of the photos in the newspaper, and if you can do it under 5 minutes, you get $20. And so the goal-oriented people, who happen to be the unlucky group, they just hunkered down and started counting each one of these images. And the path-oriented people, who happen to be the lucky group, they just kind of read the newspaper. And the headline on the newspaper was, there's 473 photos in this newspaper. And the lucky people tended to, in like a minute or 2 minutes, they hand in the newspaper, tell them the number, and collect their $20. While the unlucky people, the goal-oriented people, were still hunkering down, counting all the numbers, getting it wrong, all missing the 5-minute timeline. And I was just blown away. That's why I want to do a documentary about it. Another thing that the lucky people, one of the tests were, they said, hey, we've got this guy, Bob Smith, in the cafe. You need to talk to him. He's one of our producers. And he just wants to talk to you for a few minutes. And so the people and then there was a $100 bill on the ground in the entryway to this restaurant. So the lucky people who were the path oriented people, they walked into the restaurant, they looked at the sky, looked at the street, and they're like, "Ooh, $100 bill." The goal oriented people were so focused on meeting Bob Smith that they walked straight to the door, straight to Bob Smith, and every single one of them missed the $100 bill on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, when you get that done, we'll have to have you back and talk through that one as well. That sounds really interesting as well. Before the last question here, David, how do folks get in touch with you? How do they reach out?
I'll Google any combination of bureaus, small or projects, and you'll get, our website will come up. Just reach out on that website. There's a telephone number, call. You can email me directly at gaz@smallprojectbureau.com. If there's any confusion in that name, again, Google any combination of small projects and bureau, and we come up first.
All right, wonderful. So, last question, David. How do you find your best day yet in both personal and
Oh,
professional aspects?
that is the best question ever. And I'm going to probably have the most boring answer for that question. And you were kind enough to send it to me ahead of time, so I thought this through. And I was going to go to business ones. I was going to like a successful day at work. I was going to go out, like I'm a fly fisherman. So I thought, ooh, a day out on the river all by myself fly fishing. But the real answer to that was the other night I was playing Settlers of Catan with my wife and my son Eli. And my wife Annalie and my son Eli. And the game plays to 10, but we were enjoying it so much that we're going to play to 15. And so about few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes on the extended to the 15 game, I realized that it's impossible to get 15 points. And then I was going to say something, but I thought, nah, I'm just going to ride this through. And so we all got it equally up to 10, and we were just playing the game with no possibility of winning whatsoever. And it was so wonderful just playing a game with the people I love without, when somebody wants to win, even with your family members, you kind of like get angry or frustrated. But when I realized there was no possibility for any of us to win, we could just enjoy playing the game with these people I love.
Oh, wonderful.
And I
That-
actually did think to myself, this is, when you go back and you think if you had a Groundhog Day moment
yeah.
where the same day repeats over and over and over again, I was thinking this might be the one I would wish for.
All right. That's a great answer, by the way. That was not boring at all. That was a very great answer. Appreciate you being on, David. And like I said, when the new documentary comes out, maybe we can have you back on and talk through that as well.
Oh, I would love that, Eric. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so that's all for today, folks. I hope you were, as I have been, inspired by David and what he says, and I hope you check him out and check out what he's doing because he's throwing off a lot of good vibes, and we like people that throw off good vibes. But we appreciate you watching, listening. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified when we post next. If you want more information, you can always visit us at centerforvictory.com. And remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.